Welcome to Women with Drive, a show by the Deakin Melbourne Boomers, talking all things Aussie women's hoops. Hosted by Boomers' own Lou Brown. Women with Drive.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Women with Drive, presented by the Deakin Melbourne Boomers and proudly supported by Sukin. I'm your host, Lou Brown, and tonight we have a very special interview with FIBA legend, WNBA legend, WNBL legend, our very own Michele Timms, sitting down with Guy Molloy as they discuss his 9th and final season here with the Melbourne Boomers. Then Timsy herself will be joining me in the studio where we'll break down each and every person on the squad this year and get to let you guys know who and what to look forward to this season. But first, let's check out Michele Timms' sit down with Guy Molloy.
Women with Drive.
Well, Guy, thanks for joining us, and we're on the brink of a new season. It's all very exciting, and most recently had a big announcement.
Correct, Michelle. This will be my 9th and sadly my final year coaching my beloved Melbourne Boomers. It's been a great journey.
Must be a lot of emotions attached to the season, to leaving Australia and looking at the future.
Yeah. I already it's kind of been, one of those feelings. You go to a venue and coach the team in a game and it hits me. This is my second last time I'll ever coach the club at this venue, probably. And practices mean more, coming into our facility, seeing the players, hanging with them. It's got a conclusion. And it makes it a little bit emotional.
And how much more pressure, although you probably don't want to say it's pressure, but desire and want. I mean, every season you want to win a championship, but with everything you've just said then attached to it all, it must be, you want the Cinderella story, I imagine. Yeah,
I want to get it right. And but you got to be careful how hard you force that. So, as you can probably remember from our time together in Perth many, many years ago, like I'm very much a basics coach by nature, and I'm all about building habits with people, and you can't fast track any of that stuff. And so as much as I want everything to be perfect and great right now, I still have to walk that road to get the team in a good shape to play its best basketball. But I'd love for it to come together. Yeah,
well, you're in a great place, State Netball and Hockey Centre, now the home of the Melbourne Boomers, where their first and only ever championship was won.
Right, hopefully it rubs off, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the team in a little bit. Let's take a time travel back and share us your thoughts in 2012-13, the first season with the then Boomers, which is quite different back then to where we are now. But what was your first memories and first thoughts of what you can remember of back in that inaugural season with the team?
Well, first thoughts were actually getting a phone call from you saying, you're doing individuals with the Bulleen Boomers, can you come down and do a couple of sessions, just get a different voice at training? And I can remember a session we had at the Veneto Club, and I think Beck Allen was there and Tess Madgen, Alice Koenig, Rachel Jarry, so some emerging talent back then at the time, right? They were all the young kids back then. And I really enjoyed that, and I'd been out of the women's coaching for probably, would have been well over 15 years back in the NBL. And I really enjoyed it. I felt stale with a lot of the stuff I'd been doing. Like, I'd come off a World Championship campaign with our U17 men. We got a silver medal. That was great.
That was huge.
So that was like, well, what do I do now? I came down to the wire for the Adelaide 36ers, the men's coaching position. It went to Marty Clark. Yep. And
which was our luck.
Right. Okay. Thanks. Maybe. And so I had that memory, and then some. Your good self and Tom and Robin went off to China to take care of their national program, and then I had some wonderful Bulleen stalwarts, people like Linda Perry and Laurie Chiswick, going, "Hey, would you be interested? we're rebranding this the Melbourne Boomers, and so I just had that work with the girls. I thought, gee, that was good. I might like to do this for a year. I'll come down and do it for a year and see if it works, and that was the original plan.
And it's grown. I mean, what it was then to now is, it must be just in your head, just blow your mind.
Yep.
Can you take us through some of the biggest things that have changed since the 2012 and 13 season?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first two things that we had an actual tryout for the team, like a VJBL junior team, under 18s. We had a tryout, would you believe? And it went, because Linda Perry was trying to say, this is the Melbourne Boomers now. So when we do the tryout, we'll advertise to all the associations in Melbourne. And we had a pretty good turnout. It was maybe 50, 60 players came down, and they were all Siebel players or Big V, and then we reduced that down to 25 or 30, like a juniors tryout again, and from there we picked up 70% of the team. It was amazing, and we had a couple that had been beginning to make an impression, like Tess Madgen, Rebecca Cole, Rebecca Allen, were real juniors with you and Tom and Robin.
Yeah.
And so they stayed on, and then we just had a bunch of players from everywhere, and we just put it and the very first training session, I think from memory, was at Kalinda Primary School.
Yeah, right.
And
so lots of big changes, right? So not playing out of the Veneto Club anymore.
Right.
Out at the State Netball Centre, I believe, was your first season.
Yep.
And like you say, training in venues at Our Lady of the Pine Primary School and all these different sorts of primary schools. So lots have changed.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, the magnificent facility we're in here now, and the players are at the high end, they're fully professional, and at the younger end of our roster are aspiring professional but able to do this. And when we had a walkthrough before, I mean, you know, you can see the weights room and recovery and kitchens and massage and courts and all that kind of stuff, whereas before it would be get to the venue at 6 o'clock, get the brooms out because the kids have been on the gym floor all day and you can't stand on it, you're going to fall over. So clean the floor, and you know, the girls would come from work or study, and a lot of the time it was like they were dog tired. You know, it's at the end of the day and they're doing training, and then on the way home inevitably everyone would grab takeaway Maccas, and that was their sports nutrition back at that time. And so trying to make the players now appreciate
where they've come from.
Right.
And it wasn't easy either. Like a couple of years in, Bulleen Boomers come in and have that very hard discussion with you and Tony Hellman and Justin Nelson, that they were going to give up the licence.
Yeah, it was a really emotional time because, as I said, I was looking to coach for a year because I didn't know, you know, exactly where my career path was going, but I really enjoyed my first couple of seasons with the club. In typical sort of Bulleen fashion, we were just needing to make so much out of so little. You know what it was like. Yeah. And the fundraisers for selling cherries or Lemingtons and all that kind of stuff was all there. And but Linda Perry walked in one day and said, you know, the Bulleen Templestowe Basketball Club, they want to remodel their stadium, and people who know that that's a pretty old facility and it's such a great basketball club, and they want to take all the money that's going into WNBL, they're going to reclaim a lot of that, it's got to go into the new facility, all that kind of thing, and they were going to hand back the WNBL licence, and that happened midway through, I think, my third year. And
how hard was it to stay focused on you know, the plan ahead of playing the WNBL season with that uncertainty over your head, whether you're even going to be able to step on the court?
Yeah, it was Timsy. And so I remember the actual first meeting, you know, everyone was in tears, all the players were upset, and because everyone was thinking we might not even last the season, like we might get pulled out before it even finished. So that was a really emotional time. And you know, the next phase, because Justin Nelson was newly in as the general manager of the club, and honest to God, we were sitting around going, well, is there any way we can fund this ourselves? And, you know, which would have been a very cut price organisation, I can tell you, but how can we keep it alive?
Back to the Veneto Club.
Back to the Veneto Club, right. But look, then we just stumbled across this wonderful new ownership group led by Tony Hallam and a board of 8 or 9 other investors, and that changed the fortunes of the club.
So, you know, we've heard a little bit of the lows of your experience. What are some of the great memories you're going to take away with you at the end of this season?
Well, I think we went from a situation of when things were on their downhill slide, we couldn't even get a competitive roster together, and we had a couple of years that were pretty tough. And also we lost people, like, you know, Rachel Jarry had succumbed to knee injuries and she kind of disappeared. Tess Madgen got a horrible ankle injury which ruled her out for a year. Elise Penaluna, her knees, just, it was time for Elise to retire. So the strength of the club in the previous 4 or 5 years as Australian players had also left. And you know, we just went through the lowest of lows with 1 year in 16-17 where we finished second bottom, and that was really hard to take.
Yeah.
And with the new ownership group, they were adamant that things needed to fix off the court first. We've got to put money into rebranding, remarketing the club. And the 2017-18 season, we made the grand final. And unfortunately, we lost a best-of-3 series. But one of the great memories I'll take from it was Game 2 that we won in Melbourne at State Basketball Centre in front of almost 4,000 people, when it was meant to hold 3.5, and they're hanging from everywhere, and it was 40 degrees outside, the aircon's pumping. It was just an amazing, it was a massive day. We won it. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get through in Game 3. But that's something I'll certainly take with me. That was a great memory.
What's the legacy that Guy Molloy hopes to leave the Melbourne Boomers at the end of this season?
Yeah, I'd hope that it's a lot about professionalism and standards, because it's come so far, and clubs talk about, are you in a championship window, which I believe that we're at, and we haven't closed the loop on that one. We need to. But given our mix of everything that's happening on the court, off the court, perpetually staying in that championship window should be occurring, I think. So I think that the legacy is the next head coach that takes over the program is going to move into the WNBL version of a Rolls Royce instead of a Datsun 120Y, which is kind of where we started with some tryouts and stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's been amazing, and I hate this word because it gets used so often, but there's nothing, I don't know which way to say it without saying this word, but it's been an amazing journey, hasn't it?
After the break, I'll be joined by Timmsy in the studio where we'll give you guys a season preview. Timmsy, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a while since I last saw you here on Women with Drive. So thank you again. And last time it was on Zoom, so even better to actually be able to have you here in the studio.
No, wrapped to be here. Thanks for having me. And yeah, like you say, excited to be in front of in a studio actually, not on Zoom.
Well, I know you just had a wonderful conversation with Guy. Obviously it's his 9th and final season, but I'm here to talk to you about the team. I know we've got a really exciting season ahead of us, but it's coming from the exciting players that we see on the screen right now with our wonderful, beautiful shot here in our nice new clean uniform.
They new uniforms, they look sharp. Except for that person with the black top on. What the heck?
It's swag, Timmsy.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I'm just old school.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to break everyone down one by one. So we're going to start with our wonderful point guard, Lindsay Allen, LA as we like to call her. So
got to say, pretty happy when I heard the news she was coming back. Look, a true point guard. She works the on-ball fantastic, which is such an integral part of the game these days, and is a pass-first type player. So absolutely just what I think your wonderful ball club that Guy Molloy's put together needs.
Yeah, and just as a player, as a point guard, she's such a consistent voice as well. Like when I'm on the court, off the court, I always hear Lindsay's voice somewhere or another guiding us, making sure we're in the right position. So I just think she's going to be absolutely wonderful to have back. But
there's going to be so many great battles there's so many great point guards in the league, so that's really exciting. And we know Lindsay Ellen can hold her own, that's for sure. No,
exactly. And then we've got her teammate from Indiana Fever joining us for the first time in Tiffany Mitchell. So
that's exciting, right? Like, a starter for Indiana, and I wanted to know a little bit more about Tiffany before I came on the show, and had a chat to Taliba Valakwa, who, as we know, used to play in Indiana and coach there. And she had nothing but praise for Tiffany. Just said she's one heck of an athlete, super dynamic, can get to the rim. But the thing that stood out the most for me about Tiffany was the detail that Tully went to about her defense. So apparently loves to shoot the gap, is pretty good defensively.
She's a bit of a dog on the ball.
Yeah, so that's going to be just a fantastic piece to the puzzle.
Yeah, and I think, come end of shot clock, we know kind of, okay, we can get the ball in Tiff's hands and we'll get a good shot up as well. So now so much to look forward to, and I think she's going to absolutely make waves in this league this year. And then her buddy on the other side of the wing, we've got Tess Madgen, our wonderful Tess Madgen. Yeah,
it's great to see Tess back, and look, she had, under difficult circumstances, she did a good job at the Olympics, and she'll be looking forward to this season and just cutting loose and, tearing it up, getting to the rack, shooting the 3-ball. So pretty lucky to have Tess.
Yeah,
glad to see her back.
No, I know. I've been so excited to play with her. There was a couple of times in lockdown we got to train together a few times in more of a one-on-one, two-on-two scenario, and her competitiveness and the way she just brought the level of those trainings up with her presence there. Yeah. And then now I've been able to see it now in this team session. And then, she doesn't allow training to get to, sometimes if the energy is starting to drop or anything like that, she's the first one that's like, no, this is not where this training is going.
Yeah, super competitive, like you said. Like just watching training today, she called LA out for a flop, and, very competitive, yeah.
No, she's not shy about it too, which I love. And then obviously, our superstar Ezzy Magmagaw. Yeah. Nothing but praise about her.
No, exactly. She's the great hope of the Opals, and coming off the back of a really good WNBA season, and this year she's been back in plenty of time. I think last year the timing was that she came back and there wasn't a lot of prep for her before she started playing, if I remember correctly. And took a little bit of time to get into it, but I think she's ready to go from the get-go this time, and we're all expecting, without putting too much pressure on the kid, because she is only 22 years old,
so young.
Expecting great things from her, and to continue on that form and domination in the paint.
No, and
evolution.
Absolutely.
She's, continuing to evolve as a player.
As a player and just as a person, she's probably one of the best human beings I've ever met.
Yeah.
You can't, some players as well, you just think she's 22, she's so humble, she's a superstar, but she just has her head on, so screwed right for her age.
Well,
just wonderful to be around.
Yeah, but she needs to be a bit nasty. Yeah. She needs to be a bit nasty to the court.
She definitely does. We do have a little bit of nasty and a little bit of a good nasty in the next person. In Kayla George, the passionate.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, well, can't speak highly enough of Kayla. Her Opals, let's go back, talk about the Opals. I thought she did a fantastic job for the Opals in, as we've already mentioned, a difficult Olympics for them. She really stood up and helped that team, and can't wait to see her back in action here. She's a bit of a leader. Obviously, she's your captain.
Yeah, heart and soul of the team.
Exactly, and fun around the change room, and yet still has a really high level of professionalism on the court and on the training track as well, and looking to see how she goes this season. She's not getting younger, she's 32, but she's looking at her today, she's in great nick and just has a spring in her step, and can't wait to get the season underway, and knows that the guys put together a great season, and knows that it's his last season and what that means, which we can discuss later.
Yes, we can. But, we're going through the bigs right now, the posts. So next up, we've got our New Zealand tall fern.
Just love her.
Tanina Davidson.
Just love her.
Yeah.
Just absolutely love her, on and off the court. The thing I love about Panina is that she's blue collar.
Yeah.
There's not enough, or not enough, but if you're a blue collar worker, you can make most teams, and she brings it. night in, night out. She'll dive on the loose ball. And she does all the little 1%ers that make a team great.
No, she is. And she's, you know, she's so agile and she's able to guard and get out there and really hedge on on-ball screens as well. And again, just, I could say this about every single person, but just great humans, great teammates, and just so lovely to have around. But this next person I kind of wanted to skip through, but
now,
I guess we have to do it. So.
Who's that?
Who's that?
Are you seriously 26? Oh my goodness.
I know. I look younger.
You do. It must be the new Sukin
The new
product.
Sukin, it is.
Anyway,
yeah.
So tell us, how have you enjoyed the process and training so far?
It's been amazing. I mean, it was definitely a transition, just coming out of an NBL 1 season that was a little bit on and off.
Yeah, more off than on.
Yeah, but it's been fun, and I've just been able to feel myself grow and really trying to find my role and my new position on this team as well.
Well, tell us what it is.
What is it? Well, I just think I'm going to get out there, rebound, defend, play hard, and then just keep like a huge positive mindset, knock down open shots, just be a really consistent player for this team.
Well, the one thing I did notice is that you love sweeping the glass. You know, I was only at training for a little bit, but that was something that caught my eye. And, you know, we talked about Penina's blue-collar work ethic, and I think that's what you bring to the team as well. And, be coming off the bench and making the most of your minutes.
Absolutely. I take pride in being able to control what I can control, and one of them is crashing the glass, defending, playing hard. Anyways, moving on, we got Lily Scanlon.
Oh man, stop right there. I'm so happy to see this signing earlier in the year. You know, she's from Sunbury originally, but came across to Bulleen as a young junior, and so excited to have her playing in her state, as her parents are, I'm sure, having her play here instead of up in Canberra. So a great addition to the ball club, excellent backup. You know, she'll be pushing LA along to every last inch of this season. So I'm really excited to see how she goes in the league. And I mean, I know she was in the league last year, but being able to play some minutes and learn from Lindsay Ellen's just an incredible experience for Lily.
Yeah, and I've mentioned this a couple of times now, but we played a lot of one-on-one during lockdown, so I had the pleasure of guarding Lily Scanlon, and I always laugh about I called them dancing lessons for me. Sometimes. Just her crafty and being able to
dopey giraffe. No, only joking.
Cop that.
Yeah, no.
That's how I felt
joking.
sometimes.
No, it's great.
No, I'd let her get by me and then block her shot from behind.
No, she didn't inside skip you. All right.
No, she did. All right, and then we've got Ezzy Wright, you know. Absolute solid person, solid player. Yeah.
And I know we've said this a few times, but this girl is blue collar and provides such a flexibility to this lineup, because she can swing anywhere through there. You know, from even the one if you needed her to. You know, she's so flexible and just a great team person. You know, you saw that last year, and I was sorry when I heard that she might not be coming back, and then I was so excited to know that she is. And so, you know, she's a little bit of the glue for me. Somebody who can play, as I said, in a number of positions, invaluable, and a great work ethic. She's 31 years old. She's a little bit older, more mature, and I think that's going to really help with some of those young kids, including yourself in the team, because I think she's got a great way to communicate with her teammates.
Yeah, she absolutely does. And then we've got, obviously, finally, our last piece to the puzzle here, Rachel Brewster, who's just being, you know, the epitome of a player in growth and growing, as coming from DP for a couple of years and now getting her spot and making a real impact as a contracted player.
Her body was, you know, down on the court, just the first thing I noticed about the Brewster was the body shape. She's got a fantastic basketball body, very dynamic. She's obviously been working very hard on it. She
does, yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing her play and see what she can do for the ball club.
Yeah. She's a very explosive player, and I know she's really she's studying health and fitness, personal training, all those kinds of things. So that's her body is definitely her temple.
You know, she looks dynamic. Another one who crashed the glass that I noticed at training as well, and didn't just jog cuts. She blasted, cuts and that. So
Nah, she's great. And then we've got Guy Molloy, who we'll see in the rest of the episode with your interview with him last season. But just any last remarks on him as a coach, you think?
Well, I just hope you girls can follow the game plan and get it done for him.
I think he hopes the same thing.
We spoke about the fairy tale ending, and if there's a coach in this league who deserves a championship, it's Guy Molloy. You know, he's put his heart and soul and his family's heart and soul into this for 9 years, as every coach does. But Guy's since the changeover of ownership and even just prior to that has been the father of this club for the last 9 years. So I really hope you guys can get it done this season.
Yeah. I think my first year with him, but I know a lot of the girls want to make sure they send him out the right way.
Yeah.
I think really a lot of line with what you were just saying now as well.
Yeah.
But I think that is it. That is all we have. We just broke down every single player. So that was awesome, Timsy. Thank you so much.
Good luck for the season.
Thank you.
Go Boomers! It's boom time.
Bring the boom.
Bring that boom.
All right. Thank you, guys. We will see you right after the break. It was great being able to catch up with Timsy ahead of our home opener this Saturday, 7:30 p.m. against in-state rivals Southside. Make sure you can go grab a ticket at our website, melbourneboomers.com.au. If not, you can catch the game live on KO. Either way, we'd love to see you there. Again, thank you so much for joining me tonight. You guys have a great night. I'll see you next week.